When we were first asked which plays we might like to tackle in the park, this was over 2 years ago, Lear immediately came into my head, not only because it's a play that really can work in an outdoor setting, but it also logistically can be done in 90 minutes and with a cast of 12. I started the initial impulse to have King Lear played by a woman as a woman, which is something that has been done very few times in professional productions. There have been actresses who've taken on the role, but they tend to play Lear as a man. And I actually have inverted the gender, so we're really getting what is ostensibly a Queen Lear with all the pronouns changed and everything that goes along with that. And what I was interested in was to examine a patriarchy that is so totalizing that even a woman who has attained absolute power inside of that patriarchy is still subject to it. I was convinced that people would be watching this through the lens of President Hillary Clinton. It was going to be about that. And of course, that did not happen. So instead, we're now viewing the story of sort of a woman patriarch, so a woman who's inside of a patriarchy and subject to its rules, set against the backdrop of this recrudescence of misogyny that is, taken kind of ghastly form in the administration of Trump. I put forward this idea that Lear is actually Shakespeare's most hopeful play. And, when you tell that to people that are familiar with the play, they don't tend to believe you because it's so full of sort of brutality and violence. But I think what it ultimately argues is that redemption is possible. If I have to sort of sum up what is Lear about in one word, that word is redemption. And its redemption is possible even inside a sort of bleak, nihilistic world. There's still hope. It balances a family drama with a kind of cosmic, themes of sort of political intrigue and the movements of nations and the manipulation of power and the corrupting elements of power. I think, too, there's an important thread. It's really about the sort of a society trying to give up on absolutist beliefs and the notion that absolutist beliefs lead to doom. So what I'm trying to explore with the design, in collaboration with Carolyn Smith, who's my fantastic costume designer, was to render period early 1600s silhouettes through the lens of contemporary fashion. So how that manifests is we get sort of the large architectural shapes that you'd see in portraits of Queen Elizabeth herself, but rendered through a contemporary fashion lens. So the joke that I'm using to describe that is that the aesthetic is Alexander McQueen Elizabeth. So the aesthetic is influenced by the fashion designer Alexander McQueen. Joseph Papp, who is the founder of the Public Theater in America, and founded the New York Shakespeare Festival, which is sort of what Shakespeare in Hyde Park is based on, where his goal was to give away Shakespeare for free. He compared Shakespeare in the Park to the public library, that, if the theater was going to be a sort of moral institution with a civic function, that the access was what was most important. And he always sort of underlined that as being, that's why it had to be accessible. It was about providing this work to as wide a range of different kinds of audience as possible. So that public that you're playing to in Hyde Park is totally unprecedented and unique in the country, because you're getting diversity not just culturally but socioeconomically. It's an incredible opportunity to play to that audience. One that I take very seriously and really welcome. It's one of my favorite things to go and see as a sort of tradition as well, because some people that go and watch Hyde Park, that's the only theater experience that they'll have in that year, and they go, because of the amphitheater, because it's Hyde Park, because it's outdoors, and that communal experience that is fostered in that amphitheater with those 1,100 people is something really special.